This is huge. The market's crazy. If you have a question that you think, oh, I'm not going to disturb Mark, disturb me.
And did it feel like the party was over a little bit?
Oh, big time.
In tech?
Oh, big time.
Is there anything you would have done differently?
I've had a lot of bad stuff happen to me.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Jobcast with Cristian Amaral, where each week I sit down with the most interesting people I know and talk to them about their life and career. My goal is that you walk away from each episode with some insight or inspiration for your own path in life. My guest today is not only the #1 real estate agent in Sacramento, he's also been recognized as one of the top 1% Coldwell Banker real estate agents in the country. On top of that, he's got a YouTube channel where every week he gives local market updates. He does home tours of luxury properties and so much more. I am so honored to welcome Mark McDonough. Mark, thank you so much for being here.
That was an awesome intro. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now let's see if I can live up to the hype.
Yeah. Well, you know, I appreciate that. I put a lot of work into the intro, but I'm sure there's something I missed. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about just like your elevator pitch? Who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it?
Okay, my name is Mark McDonough. I'm a realtor here in the greater Sacramento area. I do what I do because I love what I do. I'm up every morning at 6 a.m. excited to work in the real estate market. Like, I love working with people. And if there was anything else in life, I would choose real estate. Real estate is my passion. I surround myself with great people, great energy. And that's it. That's my elevator pitch. And if you want to work with people with great energy, great passion, and that's me.
I love that. I just want to say thank you so much for being my first guest. This is like, it's so, and I want to talk to you about your journey with YouTube because it's so vulnerable sometimes to put yourself on camera and share with the world, the stuff that's on your heart and on your mind. What was that first moment like for you when you pressed record and started to talk about real estate on YouTube?
Stressful.
Yeah.
Really stressful. I mean, I had like the ring light, had the whole thing going, and I had my wife walking behind the ring light, looking at me, shaking her head, going, "What are you doing, man? What's going on?" What? And I'm like, I like the medium of video. I think the video aspect is like something that's going to be going on for a long time. I think I always like to be ahead of the curve, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the video thing, it did make me feel a little bit like, because the thing is with photos and videos, everyone always takes it and they kind of imagine themselves in their best light. 21-year-old,
Of course.
And then you see yourself and you're like, whoa, okay. Once you get the authenticity, once you get comfortable in your own skin, then talking about life, real estate, anything else just becomes like second nature, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. And so how deep are you in this journey of real estate? How long have you been in the real estate industry?
8 years. I've always wanted to do it, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing for me. Like, I came from a generation where it was like, you go to college.
Yep.
After college, someone will hand you a great job, and then there you go, man. Retirement, 401k. And
Easy.
for me, I went to UCLA, and, it was a great experience. And just afterwards, I went through, different career paths. I always wanted to do real estate. And like, now that I'm doing it, I mean, like, it's something that is my passion. I love it.
100%. Now, when did you first become aware of real estate as like a potential path for you? Because it sounds like it took a while to find you in a way.
Well, I mean, I think for me at least, like, I always thought of the idea of the house being such an important purchase in a person's life and everything too. And I was like, that's kind of fun. The idea of being part of that journey and doing something a little bit more like fulfilling, I guess,
Yes, 100%.
So for me, I kind of like that. I like the whole aspect of real estate. I don't know if I would like it as much if the video aspect wasn't there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, it's fun. You have video stuff on you, and you kind of have to perform, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like in the real estate industry, you see a lot of like photos of people, that just like their best photo and this and that, and and it's kind of very selly. When you're on video, like when I do my live streams for an hour straight, like, there's no smoke and mirrors, you know what I mean? There's like, it just is what it is. And it's like, and I love that rush,
100%. I love that. And that's interesting. I didn't know you went to UCLA. It kind of makes me think like #1 real estate agent in Sacramento, even going to UCLA, huge accomplishment. Is there like a moment from your childhood or a memory that you can think of that maps to the success that you've had in your life, you think?
Pro wrestling.
Really?
Yes. I was an old school pro wrestler watcher. None of my friends liked it. They liked football and everything too.
Sure.
But I love the whole idea of like making stuff fun.
Making stuff fun.
Yeah. Everything
100%.
you do, like going to work, doing your stuff. And I just saw pro wrestling, how it just seemed fun. It was larger than life. And for me, anything that I've ever done in my life, I wanted to make it fun, larger than life.
Yes.
Make it an experience for people. If they're going to buy a house, why make it bland? Make it fun. Make it like that present that they want to unwrap. Make it like exciting. And, our market right now in Sacramento, it's a great market.
Yeah.
Like people can buy something here that's just like crazy stuff. Like tomorrow I go film a $3.2 million house, which in the Bay Area is probably just like regular house.
Yeah. And my girlfriend and I went to the Apple headquarters the other day, and the houses around the Apple headquarters here would be, I don't know, 600,000, 700,000, like if even that.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, that's a $3 million house. That's a $4 million house. Just old 3-bed, 2 baths.
Oh yeah. So, but imagine that, like that. One of the things about the Sacramento market is the idea that you can show a person, hey, look, sell your condo in Silicon Valley for like $2 million and come out here and see something. So like the joy that I get from showing people like something new, something like they hadn't considered, or something that like they're smiling about is awesome, and I get to do it on video. So, that's another good thing.
100%. What was your first job? If we take it back before real estate was in the picture, maybe even before you went to UCLA, what was the first job that you ever had?
I worked from 14 till like now. I've never not worked. I've loved working. My first job I did at 14 to buy my first car. My parents were like, you're not going to buy a car. You're going to work. So I got the only job I could, which was like a phone solicitation job where I did police athletic league tickets. And every day I would walk maybe 3 or 4 miles to get to my job. I worked 3 hours. I think I made like $60 a week or something like that doing that. But that was me. That was my first experience out there. Maybe it led into the idea of like not being scared to talk in front of people, or not being able to like pitch, hey, this is what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And so, from there, my jobs, honestly, I worked in the .com industry where I ran teams of 20 people. I taught at College of Alameda, San Francisco State, Sacramento State. I managed and helped book artists like John Lee Hooker, Ben Harper. I have done a bunch of fun stuff. Oh yeah,
that's incredible. Okay, so taking it back to your college professor days, what was your subject? What did you teach?
Oh, Oracle 8i. It was computer programming. Wow. Then I taught network security at Sacramento State, MCSC courses at San Francisco State, and so it was all tech. Back in the day, like how can I say this? Like. The tech boom happened before anyone knew anything about it.
Right.
So it was like all of a sudden you saw this industry explode and people wanted to get into this industry. And so they were like, who do we bring in as teachers? Now, teachers, for the most part, don't get paid enough.
Right.
Now, the tech industry, you talk to like a 25-year-old and you say, hey, look, I'm going to pay you $60,000 a year to teach, or you can work for like Oracle and make $500,000. What are you going to do?
Yeah, of course.
So for me, but I like the whole aspect of teaching. I would sit there in auditoriums full of just people, and I would just talk about tech and just how Oracle 8i worked and all that stuff, and then network securities and stuff, and like I knew a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah. And
so for me, I liked teaching. And that's probably a little bit of how I do my channel, a little bit education wise.
100%.
And that has led me to amazing things.
I can feel that, and I think that people really respond when you come to them. Especially if you're in an industry like real estate, where the image is very salesy. The image is like, oh, this person maybe just wants to get their commission. When you approach that from a perspective of, oh, I'm here to give information. Is that kind of how you tend to approach a lot of your life?
Well, 100%. Educate a person, give them information, and if the timing of their life is great and everything makes sense, it's almost like they'll look at it and say, hey, thanks for not being that guy.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
So for me, I mean, occasionally, no, I'd say maybe at least like 25% of the time I'll talk to people over the phone and they might not buy, they might not sell, but they just want to have a kind of like real estate therapy. I mean, that's probably what I do more than anything else.
I
It's
like that.
Hey, how's it going? The market's a scary thing and people are freaking out. Our market's definitely more like shaky than it's ever been. People are seeing like
Very much so.
misdirection, YouTube channels telling them this stuff and everything too. And they just want to basically vent.
Yes.
And that's it. And vent. That's it.
I can tell you when we bought our house, my real estate agent was much more my therapist than anything else. It was him taking my frantic calls, being like, do we need to offer, $50,000 over asking? And he was like, calm down. We're not going to start there. Let's feel it out. Take a breath. Like it's okay. So I imagine, do you do a lot of that? Do you do a lot of calming people down and walking them off ledges?
Number one, you must have a good agent because that's a trait of a good agent. Like in our industry, because we do so many transactions, you can get a little jaded. You can get a little bit like, whatever, give me the check.
Yeah.
I'm off to Cabo.
Yeah.
The really, really, like, in my opinion, the good agents, the ones that are really like, not easy to find are the ones who basically understand the idea of how big of a purchase this is for a person and kind of jump in the shoes of every single client they're working with and kind of understand their perspective on it. Feel empathy. Empathy in real estate is like, it's been gone for a while. For me, I look at people and I'm like, this is huge. The market's crazy. Totally. We're here right now. And like, I get it. It's stressful. And like, you're going to have 2 a.m. sweats. You're going to be freaking out. And as your realtor, if I'm not there to calm you down, if you have a question that you think, I'm not going to disturb Mark, disturb me, ask me, please. If I can calm you down a little bit or walk you down a little bit, talk you off the ledge, like, I'm there for you. I get it. It's freaky. I've been through, realtors, like for me, I bought my house. It was still freaky.
Of course. Yeah.
So I get it.
100%. And that leads me to what I wanted to ask you at the level that you're at. I mean, being doing the volume that you're doing, I imagine that there have to be some behaviors that not just the YouTube channel. There's plenty of real estate agents that do YouTube. Yeah. There's got to be some behaviors that I think separate the best agents from the ones that maybe only sell a couple houses a year. What behavior, if you had to point to some of the behaviors or habits that you have, what could you identify any of them?
For me, it's pass the check. Don't get me wrong. I like making money. I mean, it's one of the things that like driver for a lot of people. But for me, it's past it. It's about the reputation. It's about like doing like right, doing like being there for people and just kind of taking it to the next level. And every single morning, every morning I'm up around 6 o'clock and I am stoked to be doing what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm like ready to go. Sometimes I'm just waiting for like, when is a proper time to call someone? You know what I mean? Like a client, if they got their offer accepted, like 8:30, is that too early? I don't know if I should be doing it. So for me, like, I think like the trick for me is I love what I do. And so for me, every morning I wake up, like I'm ready to go. Every night, like it's hard for me to put down the phone and just stop. Yeah. And like, I think that is more than the check. That is more important to me. The idea that I'm like doing a good job, that I'm excited about what I'm doing. Part of the reason why people like working with me is because I get super excited, as you probably see from my.
Of course, yeah.
Like this is awesome.
It's magnetic.
Oh yeah, for me, I'm like, you're buying a house. This is awesome. I love this area. Yeah. So like for me, like I don't know if I could put someone in a house that I didn't believe was a good decision for them and not have it like basically see on my face. So for me,
of course,
I don't know, heart and soul about that stuff. I love like what I do. And I think that like for me, if you can find an agent who you can identify and go like, they love what they do and pass the check, pass the money, pass all that stuff and just say like, do they love what they do? Like, I think if you find someone who's passionate about what they're doing, they care about it extra, like a house, right? Yeah. If you find someone who loves a house, no matter if they're going to sell the house will be immaculate. It'll be so pristine.
That's so
Why?
true.
Because they love it. They treat it right and everything too. So I think that if you find someone who really loves what they do, like even if they're making $1, even if they're making like $1 million off a transaction, like that's going to be something that you should look at if they love what they do.
Yeah. And it seems like that it seems like that energy of loving what you do has kind of guided a lot of your career decisions too. Like when you were a professor and you were teaching it at these colleges, it sounds like you were doing it because you loved it. There's a reason you were at the college and not making $500,000 a year, working for Oracle. Yeah. What was that transition like between, okay, I'm doing this thing I love, I'm teaching, and then making the move? Was real estate the very next thing you did, or was there?
No.
Oh, really?
So many crazy things. It's not even funny. Like, I've always gone with stuff that marketing has always been somewhat of a base of mine. Like, I've always been able to put myself out there.
Got it.
Even in computers, like I was able to kind of network myself to a level where I could do that stuff. Like I was operations manager, network security guy, and all that stuff too. So after the technology phase ended, I started teaching for a while. Then after that, I started some online businesses, and
you were in the Bay Area at this time, right? So
yeah.
This was like not only the peak of .com, not only the Silicon Valley becoming what it is. You were there. You were in the heart of it.
I had my Z3 BMW. I was living on the tippy top of Nob Hill.
Wow.
And I was just living it down there. It was fun. It was crazy. That's
incredible.
Every night there was a company that went public that had the Bubble Lounge was going there. This was going open.
Yeah.
Free drinks, free food. Every night was a party down there. It was just crazy. And everything was for free.
What? And was there any part of you that was like, well, it sounds like there was a part of you that was like, I want to be part of this. You said you started some businesses?
Started some businesses, but I also, before I was teaching, I was kind of in the heart of the tech. Like I was working for some startups. I was doing my thing there. But it's it was almost like you were a giant party for the 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, before I started working in the computer industry, Google wasn't a thing. Then Google was a thing. And it's Yahoo stocks and then this and that. And it was a crazy vibe. So from from tech, I went to teaching.
And what year is this?
Oh man. Okay. So teaching probably happened around 2002-ish. I'd say around there, 2001, something around there.
And did it feel like the party was over a little bit?
Oh, big time.
In tech?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy in tech because, it was like, hey, what'd you get hired on? Oh, they hired me as the Big Kahuna. No, seriously, what's your title? That's my title. They just brought me in, and you'd go to office buildings. There'd be ping pong tables, bean bags, and then all of a sudden there was nothing.
Wow.
You'd go to office buildings, and they're like, yeah, there's one person working an entire floor, and everything was empty. And it was like, whoa, okay. So a lot of people were millionaires on paper, walking around. Look at me, it's didn't go to
Sure.
companies like Web or what was it? There's this one company that delivered groceries to your house, and it was I think Web Van or something like that. There's a bunch of companies that were the thing. Oh my God, I can't imagine life without this, and then they disappear.
And then it just goes away. I love also how every .com company in the late 90s had to include the word web in there or net.
Oh yeah,
in the business name.
I mean, if I could have done it all over again, because I knew people I knew the seventh person who worked at Google. And they're there were so many things along the way, buying stock and everything too, buying domain names.
For sure.
I mean, oh my God,
that was a business in and of itself.
Oh, you could have just retired. I bought 100 domains, Sacramento.com. All right,
yeah,
just sold it for $100,000. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was fun. I had a good time. It was a good time in my life. Was it the best time in my life? No. I think now, right now, maybe because knock on wood, my family, we're good,
sure.
Healthy wise. Yeah. Everything's going good. And I see a lot of the stuff .com stuff. I see a lot of stuff, friends of mine that have maybe not done as well.
Yeah.
And not even financially, just physically or people passing away. At my age, it's a weird time in my life, right? Mm-hmm. When you're young, people there's something. For me, it's just oh, they just, they didn't wake up. And you're
wow. That's right. You stop getting reasons. Why?
There's no reasons. It's really, okay, so there's gotta be something behind this. And there's just not.
Wow.
And so you really, for me, every single morning I wake up, not only am I happy about what I do for a living, but I'm just grateful. Yeah. Every day I walk down the stairs. I kid you not, a smile on my face, cup of coffee, and I'm just sitting there smiling, going, I'm so grateful every day.
How much of that is intentional? Is there intentional?
No,
I'm gonna really try to be grateful,
no.
Or it's you are just vibing. You're loving life.
I love life.
That's amazing.
Absolutely love life. Super grateful for everything that has happened to me.
Has that always been the case? Has that always been your perspective?
I've always been pretty happy,
Yeah.
but like maybe not as happy as I am now. Like, I'm super grateful, my mom's like 84 and she's doing her thing, and my brother's good, my kids are good, and we might be going to a recession. We are in a recession, who knows?
Yeah.
But I'm in a position right now where I feel good about what I do for a living, that I've helped a lot of people. I just feel good. I mean, like waking up, I'm smiling. Like there's no anything. And it's like people see me live and doing these videos, and then they call me up and they're like, wow, okay, you really are. Like,
You're not just
happy.
turning it on for the camera.
No, it's like, yeah, I'm happy. I'm
Yeah.
helping people, doing my thing. Love real estate. Love the video aspect of real estate.
Yeah.
But no, I'm always grateful. And it's never a reminder thing. I don't have to, I'm just really, really happy and cognizant of where I am in my life and like the people around me and what I have, and like super grateful always.
I love that. So if we take it to, let's jump ahead a little bit to when you first get started in real estate. What were you doing at the time right before you got into real estate?
Okay, you'll love this because this is toy-like. Okay, so I was working in the interior design industry.
Okay.
So I was working for some of the top designers in the entire world, 8100 Architectural Digest stuff.
Wow.
I was working for one guy, and he did all the Wynn hotels, Macau, Cotai,
Incredible.
everything too.
Yeah.
Like on my phone, I've got so many of the top designers in the world. So I knew a lot about finishes, about stuff. Like before I started, I was doing marketing for them. I wasn't doing any design stuff.
Got it.
But it was like learning by osmosis. Like I learned a little bit more about like High Point Market, where the furniture is all showcased. I learned about showrooms, how designers do this and everything too. So then when I was doing that, and I was like, okay, this is really awesome. And I didn't really realize it was kind of like a Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi moment.
You were learning, but you didn't know what you were preparing for. Yeah.
Totally. And then now it's like when I walk into like a $3 million house, I'm like, oh, those are Hunter Douglas shades. And it's like, whoa, how did that happen? How did I get there? And it's like, I just know finishes. I can see something, quartzite, all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I just know this stuff. And, I know crazy people like Shay McGee from Studio McGee that everyone sees at Target. I know I have a book in interior design about marketing stuff too. But for me, it was really the perfect, interior design, working in the interior design industry was the perfect opening act for what now is what I love to do. What will be with me for this is what I want to do. One way or another, I want to stay in real estate because I just love the industry.
I love that. And so what was the first moment where you what helped you make that decision to get your real estate license?
Probably the fact that I always wanted to do it. I was a little nervous about it because when you go from like salary to like commission, it's like one of those things where it's like, you're jumping out of a plane and you're like, oh man, is this the right? I just had my third child and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be brutal. I gotta make sure I'm providing, doing the right thing. Is this irresponsible? And then everything started kind of clicking. Everything was there, and it was like, I think mainly because a lot of times when you're commission based, it's so selly and you're so focused on the money that motivates you somewhat. You know what I mean? It motivates you on the good times, but not the bad. The bad times, if you're only motivated with money, it's not going to drive you. It'll just depress you. That you'll see other people making money or this or that. For me, real estate, I was kind of like, I need to make a living. I need to provide. But at the same time, even on days that I didn't have anything to do, because at the beginning you kind of like have those days where you're like, where's a water cooler?
Sure.
Where's that person, giving me the paycheck every 2 weeks?
Exactly.
So for me, jumping into real estate was scary. And for me, I just loved the industry so much.
And did you jump in with both feet? Did you
both feet
quit? Did you quit your job or did you get laid off?
No.
You were just done.
Gone.
Wow. You said, I'm going to, and so you knew at that time, at the very least, this is what I want.
Yeah.
But you didn't know if it was going to work out.
Didn't know. I mean, I knew that I needed to find something that would fulfill me, something that I love to do. And I was like thinking maybe either go camera around, do some filming stuff, or do marketing, or real estate. And real estate was like the dark horse a little bit because I was like, man, there's so many realtors in Sacramento. I mean, we are like literally, I go out the door and I will trip over 5 realtors. And so I was
you can't go grocery shopping without getting a real estate ad, in your shopping cart.
Completely. You walk around and go, I need a house. And 5 people jump out of the bushes. They're like, I got you. So yeah, it was a little bit of a tough thing. But I was like, I'm gonna spice it up a little bit. I'm gonna do a little video stuff, and I knew from the get-go that's the direction I wanted to go in. Video is what it was. You have a lot of big players around here. Like 8 years ago, some of the top people, no video. They had their machines because in real estate, it's easy to be successful in real estate if you've been doing it a while, if you have either a book of business, if you have a relationship with a lender that helps you work with Zillow, Realtor.com for leads. There's always ways to do it. There's systems, right? Like big teams from like Keller Williams. I mean, the second a house unlists, they have a machine calling them. They have callers, they have dialers, they have like lists that they get from people. Like, so there's just big machines to compete with people that have had these big machines, that know these areas and been farming these areas. I was like, that's just hard.
Yeah. So, and had you joined a team or were you by yourself?
I joined a one guy, and he was a good guy. He was doing his thing, but it was kind of a different approach than I wanted to do. I wanted to create more and people who worked with me know this. Like the first time they see me and first time we work, I'm like, this is our first date.
Yeah,
we're in a relationship right now. I want to be your go-to person in this real estate realm from now on. So for me, that's how I look at my business. If I work with someone, I want to always work with someone. And so that's how I approached it. He didn't as much. He was more like, Zillow, call, show him a house, hey, move on to the next. And so for me, I parted ways with that because it's not the way I wanted to do business.
Sure.
I want to have the old school, like, hey, that's my guy.
100%. I mean? You're more interested in building the relationship with the person.
Big time.
Versus cashing that check.
I mean, a lot of times, like, I'll work with clients and they'll call me for crazy stuff. Like, hey, I got a weed problem in my backyard. Do you have any landscapers? Yep, gotcha. Boom, you're good to go. And the conversation never does the circle of like, do you want to sell your house? No, here's a landscaper. Have fun. You need me for anything else? Let me know. We're good.
Yeah.
That's it.
So when you started the real estate channel, the YouTube channel, I've noticed there's a lot of agents that I'll watch their channels and kind of see what they do. A lot of agents tend to go in the direction of, I want to be everyone's real estate agent. And I'm going to answer, very broad general questions about being a first-time home buyer. Here's how to get, pre-qualified. Here's how to buy the house. Here's what you should know, what not to do. You seemed to have taken a very specific approach. I want to be the expert in Sacramento real estate.
Yeah.
Was that an intentional decision?
I never set on to become a YouTuber.
Yeah.
That's not my style. Want to be a realtor. And I knew my niche, whatever. Like I knew it was going to be Sacramento. And so for me, the idea is that like, that's my market. I wanted to basically plant my flag as much as I could in the greater Sacramento area. That's where people reach out to. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not really that worried about if someone in North Carolina loves my video. It just isn't. But not only that, because the real estate market is so different in different areas too, that I found it very insincere if I was going to be doing a general like, hey, real estate is this way, blah, 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 blah. It's not. It's even in Sacramento now, especially, it's different. Elk Grove is different than El Dorado Hills. So you have to kind of do videos about specific areas and focus on them. Like it's different. Like electricity bills, different. SMUD, PG&E, fire insurance, home insurance, all that kind of stuff too. So for me, I had a couple of friends that wanted to do just like the generic kind of general channels like on real estate. I just never found that to be very interesting. Yeah. I wanted to be the person where like, for me coming from the Bay Area, what did I want to see? I wanted to see like, okay, I've heard of Sacramento. It's hot, it's flat, it's the capital. Okay, I passed by it going to Tahoe.
Yeah.
What else? That is my cue to say, okay, let me tell you what else. Do you like to golf? Do you like the river? Do you like boating? Do you like this? These are the different communities. These are different areas. Boom, 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 boom. That was me. I was more like the news reporter showing on how to do this stuff.
Yeah, which is so true because if somebody's in the Bay Area and they're even curious about what it's like to live in Sacramento, you are the first 10 results. I don't know if you know that, but if you search Sacramento real estate, it's Mark McDonough. And I think that's so cool that you've carved out that niche for yourself of like, you're the expert.
Thanks. Well, for me, the thing that's so funny is like now and again, I'll see content, right? Well, I mean, what you're getting to see right now is there's like a plethora of like living in Sacramento channels because this brokerage EXP has come out with this kind of formula for having people do these channels. All the content is just out there and they're doing their thing and God bless them. I mean, YouTube is definitely a smart way to go.
Yeah.
But they're the same channels, the same videos.
For every market?
Every market. You go to like living in like Oregon, it's the same content.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that going around. So like I like my content to be a little bit different. But now here's the thing that's funny is like if I see someone who has good content, I'll reach out to them.
Yeah.
And I'll say like, I like your content.
100%.
I think it's good. And, you know, like a friend of mine, Sam Gulovi out there too, like he was about ready to quit YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was like, your content's good, man, but you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And like I helped him, coach him kind of in a way to kind of just go in the right direction. Because in YouTube, as much as it might seem like you have like all these people around you, you don't. You're very alone.
Yeah.
You don't know sometimes if what you're doing is the right way or not. And he was frustrated. And so if I see people's content that I really genuinely go like they're passionate about doing content, there's something there that they just need a little guidance, I'll reach out to him, you know, like Matt, the mortgage guy, he had like 1 million videos on his channel and he was getting like not a lot of traction. So I called him up. I was like, all right, hey, Matt, I like your videos. You have a lot of them. Why don't we try doing this and this and this? It took off.
I love that. That's so cool, man. I feel like I see another business for you that just doing that, the YouTube coaching. I think that's it. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you also is because my channel that I'm trying to build, I don't want it to just be, okay, people are going to tune in because they want to know what it's like to be a real estate agent. I want them to tune in every week and get something that is kind of applicable to everybody. And I think there's so many people that want to be in the top 1% of whatever they do.
Yeah.
And it seems like content creation is, in our world, such an important piece of that for a lot of business owners. What's the difference between those channels that really connect with people versus the ones that, as you said, are maybe a little more formulaic and it's like, it feels like I'm doing this because I have to?
I think right now a lot of people use like teleprompters, scripts. A lot of people like, you know, you'll hear them on YouTube and then you'll talk to them and they're not the same. I don't use scripts. I don't use teleprompters. Now and again, I'll use bullet points on a dry erase board, but they're very vague. So I can kind of go into it. I think the thing is a lot of people don't feel comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah.
I think people are so worried about the lighting, the camera angles and this and that they lose sight of the idea that when you focus on that stuff, the content is hurt. Your message is diluted. And so for me, one of the things about my channel is that like I go live twice a week for over an hour.
Yeah.
There's just there's just no way I can keep any type of facade or like false, personality I created. It's just like who you see is who you get, and that's it. And so I'd say a lot of people like, if you're trying to get YouTube as part of your like work, if you're trying to do it as sort of a marketing effort, if you want to get yourself out there, I would say the main thing for anyone is just be comfortable in your own skin, focus on the content. Famous YouTuber Casey Neistat said, work with the best camera you got, work with the best microphone you got. But at the end of the day, it's the content. It just straight up is the content. And people can see, if you're authentic or if you're just reading off a teleprompter.
Yeah. And I think it's that authenticity that really resonates with people.
Yeah.
I love that. If you think back to your first 12 months in the business, is there anything you would have done differently?
It's weird because part of me is always like, I've had a lot of bad stuff happen to me. I've had a lot of good stuff happen to me, but I'm at the point of my life because it all kind of mixed together and kind of made a road for me to go on. So I don't really look too much about stuff that I would do different. Maybe I would, my first 100 videos, I tell people this, 100 videos that I did were not great.
Yeah.
I was like doing weird stuff. I was emulating. I wasn't myself. And so maybe I would have kind of like figured out a little bit about who I was, what message I really wanted to put out there, figure out what my audience wanted to hear instead of what I wanted to do videos about. Another big thing too.
Yeah.
It's like part of me would be like, oh my God, that's the best idea in the world. Oh my God, that's so fantastic. I'm going to do a video. And it was like, no, okay, let's figure out what, like that one person that doesn't live in Sacramento, what song are we going to play to them that they're going to like and they're going to be appreciative for, and they're going to say thank you for doing that. Like we tend to think that we're the smartest person, we know everything and everything too. You have to kind of get away from that, and you kind of got to re-engineer it to say like, who's my audience, right?
Yep.
Let me play the hits. So if I would have, that'd probably be the only thing. Just learn a little bit more. It's less about me and it's more about the audience. And then I think, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And couple things that I wanted to touch on that maybe aren't super connected, but I've seen you drop some hints recently about some new projects in the works. I've seen you hanging out at the CBS studios. Is there anything you're allowed to share about that?
We're in talks right now to do a weekly segment that focuses on areas in Sacramento.
Yeah.
So it'd be like little 1-minute segments on like Folsom, and we'd be talking about restaurants, things to do, and everything too. So I've been in the CBS studios. I met with a program director and everything too. It was crazy the amount of stuff there.
So cool.
Yeah, so that's
so cool.
Right now they're thinking about that. They're also thinking about another idea. So we might have a few other ideas in the works.
And did they reach out to you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And the guy was like, it was so funny. I was like, so would I come into the studio record? They're like, no, what you're doing at home is like so authentic and good. They said this, I didn't, but they said this. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'm like, part of me was like, that'd be kind of cool to go to the set and record,
Yeah,
get some good stuff.
absolutely.
They're like, no, you don't have to. It's like what you're doing there if you can do this. So I did a couple tests for them and they're like, no, that's perfect. So we're kind of in the works, but like the funny thing about like big, I guess it is with places like CBS is like, they've got so many things going on that like, they're like, we're good. We're going to send over the documents. They said that on Friday. And so I haven't heard from them just yet, but like I might hear from them like in Wednesday or Friday or never.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But for me, like, how can I say this? It's not, because I got excited about the CBS thing too. I was like, this is so awesome. But I was like, you know what? It's more about me just going on my path and doing my thing.
Yeah.
Whether CBS happens, whether this, it doesn't really matter as much as like, I just have to kind of stay on the path, keep on producing the content and doing my thing. That's it.
I love, and that seems like it's really been the through line for your whole career and your whole life.
Well, I mean, for me, the thing is like, and I was telling a friend of mine yesterday, I'm like, don't focus on the likes. Don't focus on anything. Focus on like for YouTube, the watch time. Are people watching your videos? For how long are they watching your videos? Like it's about you steadying the course and just, kind of just going towards it. There's a lot of noise out there, like, oh my God, I got 300 likes on a photo. Oh my God, I'm awesome. No, it's like you got to steady the course. You got to focus on what really, really matters. And it's about creating good content. If you can do that, even if you get 2 likes, it's still going to be content that you're proud of, And so that's my mantra, I guess you can call it.
I love that. Now, if there's anybody watching who is in that space where they're maybe at a job that's safe, or they're maybe doing something that they know, is comfortable, but it's not their path. It's not what they really truly want to be doing. Do you have any advice to kind of get into that mindset, or,
Oh yeah.
How did you do that for yourself?
I would say this, first of all, save like crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to tell someone, just go for it. We don't live in that type of world. And anyone who tells you that is crazy. I'd say save for at least, maybe that you can live comfortably for about maybe a year. I would say maybe, and even if that means eating noodle ramen, even if that means like going light on stuff, like even whatever it means, like have about a year of savings saved up. And then whatever you decide to do, give it about, 6 months to like 8 months to see if it clicks, see if it works. Like everyone assumes that if someone goes for it, they're going to succeed. You might not. It's just the way life is. But if you give yourself that padding, that money in the bank, and you're like, okay, I can breathe. It lets you do really like a better job at stuff.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are like, no, that fear of not making it is going to, no, that fear of not making it is going to stress you out. It's going to it's going to crush you. But if you have that like cushion and you're still driven, right?
Yeah.
It's something you love. You're still going to wake up in the morning to want to do it.
Totally.
You're just going to be smiling more and you're going to be like, this is awesome. Like for me, like I can tell you this because I'm where I'm at in my career. Like I don't have to do a lot of videos. I want to. Like I love it. And I'm way happier knowing that like I'm where I'm at and I can do videos and I'm not freaking out that like, you know, my daughter isn't going to have food next month, you know? Like I don't want that fear. You know, and a lot of people are like, oh, you need it. It's going to motivate you. Yeah, it's going to motivate you. Absolutely. But, you know, I prefer the idea of being motivated off like what you love, what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Not the idea of like, oh, I'm going to grab that and make it work because I have to. No, I'm making real estate work because I love it, because it's awesome, because that's what I want to do. Whether I had like $1 in the bank, whether I have like $1 million in the bank, like the drive for me is a passion of doing what I love to do.
Absolutely. And I have to imagine there's been times in your life where maybe it didn't work out, or at least it didn't work out the way that you had anticipated it.
Big time.
How do you approach those situations?
Well, here's the thing too. You need to know when it's time.
Yeah.
You know, and people think, oh no, I'm going to stay with it until it works. It might not work. It's just the realism of life. So you just need to know when to call time.
But that's not devastating.
No. You just got to understand that like, okay, maybe another time, maybe another like era, whatever, things would have worked out for that kind of idea, the project, but you got to move on. You got to cut ties and just do your thing, you know? And I think that knowing when to call when, you know what I mean? When to be like, you know, is an art, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They say the difference between a great artist and a good artist is a great artist knows when the painting is done. And it's like in life, you've got to know when a relationship or project or whatever is done, you know, and it just, that's the moment.
I love that because I think knowing when to stop is so important. I think also knowing when to start. I can tell you I'm somebody who, if I had the option, I would never start anything because I'm so worried about it being perfect. I want anything I do, I want it to be of really high quality. How do you give yourself the confidence to just go for it, even if you don't feel like you're ready?
You know, I want to get stuff rolling and see if it's going to work.
Yeah.
And my excitement to see if it's going to work
is enough
to get me out there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I want to figure it out. Like for your podcast that you're doing right now, it's like you could have sat on this for like a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you would have been like,
I would have loved that.
Yeah, totally. But you're doing it now and you're like, okay, I'm going to put this out there and I'm going to see if it works.
Yeah.
And there's a certain amount of, you know, like chutzpah, whatever they call it, to do it. And so it's like, you know, you're doing it. It could work. It might not work.
Yeah.
But like, let's find out. You know what I mean? And that for me is a big driver. I'm like, all right, let's just do it. You know, let's just go for it.
Absolutely. I love that. If someone told you in our current real estate market, Mark, I want to be a real estate agent and I want to start today. Obviously, I think most people would say, pick a better time, pick a better market to get started in. Is that your take for people who think they really want to be real estate agents, or do you think there's a way to succeed even in this market?
If you love real estate, if real estate's your passion, it's your driver, jump into it. If it's for the money and because your cousin Bob is buying a new Lamborghini and going to, and his wife's going to Louis Vuitton to get a purse, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's not going to, this market isn't for you. But if it's something that you're passionate about, if something you love to do, there's ways to kind of get started even before you get started. Start kind of getting your circle of interests or your circle of people together. Start kind of figuring out your branding. You know, start figuring out like, you know, what your talk to brokers, you know what I mean? Talk to other realtors, see your area, maybe even start doing just YouTube general videos on areas. Don't be a realtor. Just say, hey, this is Bob. Today I'm going to show you the land park. Land park's pretty cool. Boom, 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 boom. And just get yourself a little out there. Do a little marketing. And then if you still want to jump in, get your license and do it. But I do believe that like in a hard market, it's the people who love what they do that'll survive it.
Yeah.
people who are doing it for money. It's not, money is a great motivator, but if you're not making money, it just, I mean, it's
then there's not going to be any motivation to go be successful.
No, energy is done and you're this, and then you watch other people making money and you're frustrated. So it's like money is a great driver when you're making it.
Yeah.
I
love that. What's next for you?
I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing. I'm building a team too right now, really good agents too. And for me, the idea is that I want to always make sure that I'm 100% doing the best job I possibly can for my clients. And so our team works just a little bit differently. I mean, I work with every single transaction, but if I'm at a dentist appointment and someone needs me, then I got like someone else to help with that kind of stuff. And we cover each other, and we're kind of more of a family than anything else. Yeah, that's probably what I think of them more. So I think for us, it's just that I'd like to do, we're going to be listing, 3.5 to $4 million homes in Serrano. Going to be filming more high-end luxury videos. And for me, the funny thing is people see my stuff and they're like, oh man, this guy only works luxury. I work for people who want to work with me.
Yeah.
I could care less about price points. If someone's excited and they see the channel and they want to work with me and they're like, man, I love his enthusiasm. I connect with Mark. I just closed like a $400,000 condo with someone, just a little while ago. And it was because like they had watched the channel. They'd say, man, I love your stuff. Can you work with me on this? And I'm like, heck yeah, I can, man. Thank you for choosing me. It's awesome. Let's do this. So for me, I'm just going to keep on doing my thing, and then I'm going to see where the road takes me. My guiding light is my passion and love for real estate. And I think, and I trust enough about feeling that I'm in the right place at the right time doing what I love. And, whatever comes my way, I'm happy with it.
I love that. Well, Mark, thank you so much. It was an honor to have you as our first guest. Any last parting words of wisdom for people who are trying to find their passion in life, or maybe even more specifically want to get involved in the real estate industry?
I would say don't listen to all the noise around you. Don't listen to all the BS of people telling you this or you should or you shouldn't do. You're only going to know if you throw it against the wall and it sticks.
Yeah.
That's it. That's life right there. You don't know unless you try, and try as much as you can. And finally, something will stick that you'll love and you'll be happy you did it.
100%. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
No problem, my friend.